Hi friends, today I would like to tell you about embeddings in Stable Diffusion, and I'm talking about Stable Diffusion installed locally, but if you don't have Stable Diffusion on your computer, you can use Google Colab, and if you go to chrisart.helpers to embeddings in Stable Diffusion, I posted a link for you, it's right here. But this tutorial will be about Stable Diffusion used locally. So first of all, what are embeddings? So sometimes there is something you really like, maybe it's some kind of product, maybe it's some kind of clothing, and you would like to have it in Stable Diffusion that is not available there. For example, in my case, I really like these neon looking portraits. And I live in New York City, and it's a great place to take portraits like this. And I sometimes would share those on social media, and friends would share with me that they wish they lived in a big city with neon lights and they could take a photograph of themselves like that. So if you followed my previous tutorial, I trained a model of myself on photos of my face, and I am able to render my own face now in Stable Diffusion, so I have that model. And then I thought, if I create an embedding that uses this style, this type of photographs, and I would make some neon portraits of myself, I thought that would be really cool. And I'm going to show you that actually I created an embeddings library. You can go to embeddings on my website, embeddings library, and I did create this model. I will tell you how to train such embeddings so you can make all kinds of embeddings for your own portraits. And I will just start with showing you what embedding is and how to use it. So when you see pictures like this online with those like gray border, it is an embedding and it has the name. So you do need to know this name because this is how you are going to use it. And then I posted here examples of my self-portraits that look that are in a similar style as those neon shots. So first of all, you just download this picture, and you make sure the name is the name that is over here, because that's the name you're going to use. And you need to go to the Stable Diffusion folder, to Stable Diffusion Web UI, and then to Embeddings. If you don't have this folder in your Stable Diffusion Web UI, it means you're not up to date, so please update your Stable Diffusion app, and I wrote how to do that in the helper. So you save it over here and you are ready to go. So for example, if I want to make portraits of myself, first I will choose a model of myself that I trained in Dreambooth, and you remember I made a tutorial how to do that. You don't have to use this particular model, you can also use just standard Stable Diffusion model. Then you won't be able to render your own portraits, but you can render portraits of like people from that model. So, and then you can use the name of this embedding. So in my case, the name is Chris Style the model, and I would just go back here and I will post it like this. And this is a style. So I would look at example prompt. A woman looks into the camera with this style behind her in the background. So I will copy that, and instead of this I will just pass this prompt. But I don't want just a random woman, I want myself. So as you remember, if you watched my tutorial, I trained the model and with my photos, and the celebrity that was the base that I kind of changed myself from was Anya Taylor-Joy person. So this is the model. If I put brackets like this, this makes the weight of these words more important. So you can even put like 2 brackets like this, but I wouldn't recommend doing it. I would just keep it like this, just like 1 bracket is enough. And then I would say, as a woman who looks into the camera with Christie's model behind her in the background. And I would probably make my batch at 4, so I make 4 images at a time, and then I would generate. And so basically you can find embeddings online, and you can use them and just see what happens. And some embeddings aren't very good and some embeddings are better. I'm building my library of really nice embeddings, so keep an eye on my website, I will be adding those. So you see there is like me, and this looks pretty close. And as you can see in this prompt, I haven't mentioned neon or glow or anything, which means it really recognizes this as an embedding. And let's look at all the other images. Like, yeah, some of them it looks very similar to me, but I think this one is my favorite. Let's just try one more. If we do 24 and we go generate, we will see another result. So on my website I will be uploading more embeddings, and if you make really nice embeddings, please share with me. I think it'll be really cool to share with other people. Before we continue and I will show you how to train embeddings, I just want to show you one more thing. So if you are reading Reddit, this is where I actually knew about embeddings. There is this post, and it's a person who took 2 embeddings, Victorian lace, and this embedding I don't really like. I don't like the word bimbo, but basically there are 2 embeddings, and you can combine either those 2 embeddings to get an image like this. You will be able, after this tutorial, you will be able to make your own embeddings. So say to make an embedding like this, you would just take a lot of photographs of different lace fabrics, and then you would be able to use it. So I didn't really like Bimbo face, but you can play with it just for fun. But I loved Victorian lace, so I'm going to download it. So save images as I showed you before and put it in Stable Diffusion Web UI embeddings. And I would call it, actually, make sure you call it correct, Victorian lace, like that, and just save it. So now if you go to Stable Diffusion and you would say Anya Taylor-Joy person wearing Victorian lace, maybe oil painting, and you would generate this, and you shall get myself, because I'm using this model. You can change models like this, which I think is really cool. So let's see. I mean, There are kind of laces over here, as you can see, but those are not the best. So what I'm going to do first, I would make Victorian lace a much more important word. Then I would maybe use portrait, um, portrait of Anya Taylor-Joy person wearing Victoria lace, maybe gown. I don't know if I am spelling gown right. Is it the right way? Gown. I don't know. Let's see. I apologize if it's something if it's something funny, but I think this is how we learn. We just make experiments. And let's see. Oh, those are much better. See, I am wearing indeed lace. Okay, I was not planning to do this, but I think I will. I will just for fun try this one. And I know that that word is just, I don't know, I don't like it. But let's just for an experiment, let's just see what happens if I do this. So if I combine portrait of Anya Taylor-Joy person wearing Victorian lace gown, oil painting. What if I put the face over here? And you know, I want to make sure that Anya Taylor-Joy is more important than this word, so I can use square brackets to make this less important. So again, you can kind of play, you can put this square brackets, and that will decrease importance of the word in the prompt in Stable Diffusion. So let's try. I don't know, I am a little bit scared what I'm going to get, but at the same time very curious. I hope it will be funny, I don't know, but let's see. Well, I mean, it's not so bad. I do have a little bit bigger lips, but let's see what happens if I make it like full on, just without the brackets, because then it will mean there is more importance of that. So let's go for it. Yeah, see what happens? The lips are decreasing. It still kind of looks like me, but with bigger lips. To train our embedding on neon photographs. And I will go to Unsplash and I will look for some beautiful neon portraits, and I will just download a bunch of them, because what I want is I want to make myself in this style, like I'm in a neon environment. Okay, so I think I have enough images. If this is not enough, I may just come back and download more, but I think for now it's totally fine. I'll just make sure those are the images, and I will copy them. And I will go to my Stable Diffusion folder, and I will just put them to a new folder. I'll call it Neon, because I will have to work on those images before I can actually train. So There are a couple of ways we can do it. First one is in Stable Diffusion. There is actually in train a menu, there is a process images folder, and we can just try this at first. We will copy this path and we will just put it to source, and the destination I will just create a new folder and call it resized. So now I will create flipped copies, split oversized images into two, and use bleep for captions. And I will just press process and I will let it work. The process is finished and we can go to this folder and take a look. So sometimes when this happens, you can see there are just like make sure that it's cut nicely and the faces are visible. I think it did actually a pretty good job with this. And now we will look into details, and there are some files which are PNGs and we need those files. Those are the files we will use to train, and I will copy them and I will cut them, and I will create a new folder and I will call it 15 squares. So we need this size to train our embedding, but also I will look into this text documents and what they say. A woman with glasses is looking at the camera in a neon room with neon lights on the wall and a neon sign behind her. So I'm actually going to use this as a prompt. And how to do that? The best way to do that, we can look at several of those and see a woman wearing glasses in a purple and blue light photo by a photographer with a camera in her hand. So it tried to actually understand what is there on those photos. And what I find is a great thing to do is to take one of those maybe a woman standing in front of a neon sign with a dark background and a neon line behind her, and maybe we can rephrase it in a way that will make a good prompt for us. And I will explain a little bit more about it, but if we go to Stable Diffusion Web UI, this is this textual inversion templates. And there are some of them that are already made. For example, style, you would say a painting art by, and this would be the name of our embedding. Like if we would say we would create Christina style, it would be a painting art by, and then we would put Christina style. I find that sometimes those work, but I actually really like creating my own. So I would create a text document and I would call it neon, and then in this neon I would actually I would use one of those trained things that we just made, and I would try to make a nice prompt out of it. So I did quite like those ones. Maybe a woman I will not use the word neon because we would like to train and we would like to see if it's actually working. If I will use neon, then Stable Diffusion will find some kind of neon images in itself, and maybe our images won't make such a difference. Well, I'm not wearing glasses. I actually also never wear makeup, so I would say
a woman, and again, it's difficult for me because I identify as non-binary, but I do know that if I write a woman, it would make it a more feminine look, and I will be okay with it. I will just say my model, which is, as you remember, Anya Taylor-Joy, is the celebrity I trained my photographs on, and then I would say Anna Taylor-Joy as a woman who looks into the camera with, and I would say name. So name means that style that we are training, that thing that we are training, that embedding that we are training. I would say with name behind her in the background. So this is one of the prompts I will try. I could write more prompts over here that would work, but I would probably try with just this one for this example. I will remember it because I'm actually going to use it later. So I will hide this for now, and then I will return back to my Stable Diffusion. So here we pre-processed images, and now we will create an embedding. And I will call my embedding, again, I don't want to use neon, because if I use neon, then there will be a suspicion that maybe it's not our images, but it's Stable Diffusion's neon images, because I'm pretty sure it would have them in dataset. So I would use my name, because I know that it doesn't know that I am training something like this. And maybe I would call it Chris, maybe I'll call it Chris style. Maybe I'll say New York. It probably wouldn't know that this is what I mean. That's why I'm a little bit, you don't have to do it like this. You can actually call it neon or whatever you like, but I'm just doing it to show you that it's actually training it on those images, and it's totally working, not even knowing that those are neon images. Then we will choose number of vectors per token, and I would probably choose, I would say maybe 8, and I would press create embedding. So here it is, it's Chris style New York PT embedding. So now I will go to train, and I will select this embedding because now it's created. I will choose learning rate pretty low. The lower it is, it's better, but I will keep it like this for now. And then here I will choose that document that we created, and it was called Neon. Max steps, I would put 20,000, but I will actually be saving every 500 steps. I will be saving embedding, because that's very important, because sometimes you may get a great embedding on like 4,000 steps and you wouldn't need to train all the way. You can always interrupt. Also, I will press read parameters, and it will be making my previews. So what I'm going to do is I will return to that prompt that I made. Where is it? Yes, here it is. And I will actually go to text to image, and I will write this prompt here, but instead of a name, I would write Chris style New York. And here I would say Anya Taylor-Joy person as a woman. I know that I do want to say who, but I do know that it's an extra word and it wouldn't be really taken into consideration. So I'll just keep it this way. So Anna Taylor-Joy person, and just make sure you selected the model that you want. And here I have several models actually. This one is a standard Stable Diffusion model, and this one is the one I trained in Dreambooth and Runbot in my previous tutorial on my own photos, because I do want a portrait of myself made in that style. So I will just check if everything is okay. I will make this probably to 7, and I will go back to train, and I will check if I selected everything, and I did, and I will press train embedding. Okay, assertion dataset directory not specified. Of course, I completely forgot, yes. So we will go and we will select this resized. Make sure that you select one that is resized to the right number, so it's the same number as here, and paste, and let's try now, train embedding. Yes, and here we go. When it will be training, you can go to your SD folder, Stable Diffusion, and here in textural inversion folder, you will actually have a folder with the date, and here it is, Chris Style New York. It's the embedding I'm training. And here first you will get embeddings here. Every 500 steps you will get them embedding here. Here you will get something really cool called image embeddings, which is an actual image, but it's a very like smart image that you can just put into the embeddings folder in Stable Diffusion, and it will work, and it will also show like an image which embedding it is. And then images. So every 500, as it will get a new embedding, it will try to generate that text to image, that prompt that we just wrote, and it will put an image here. And I find it's super cool to see if it's working right, because I can actually see what it sees, if it really sees me, if it really sees those kind of neon images, and what kind of like thing it generates over here. So and now it says none because it just started, and it needs to do at least 500 steps to make a first embedding and first images. And I'll just keep it this way, and I am going to leave for a couple of hours, and I will just keep this running, and I will come back to you when this this will be full of images, and it will go all the steps. But when you do it for yourself, you can keep an eye. It's actually quite exciting to check maybe every 30 minutes and see what it is doing. So here's training finished, and we got all those results, and I think this is pretty good. And you can see how some of those images are just so great, and it shows that we did train it for some neon. So what I will do now is just go to this folder and image embeddings, and you can actually see which images look like they are neon, and I will select some of them. Maybe you select this, and those are probably the images I am going to try and use as embeddings. And you know, sometimes the image may not look like, they all have some kind of neon, but I will just choose those that I like most. So I would have a variety, and I will copy, and if I go to my folder with Stable Diffusion and I go to embeddings, I can paste them. And I will just pay attention to the names of the styles, and I will start experimenting. I mean, I quite like this one. So it's 11,500, like Crystal, New York, 11,500. So I will go back to my Anna Taylor-Joy person, and here I will just add 11,500. And I will increase batch a little bit, so I would render more than one image to see. And I will just generate and I will see what I'm getting. So this feature, it's a little bit new, and you will not get all the perfect images every single time, but you can see how some of those images are very much in the style of like neon, and that's exactly what we were training it for.